Hello, this is me, Veerle de Bruyne, and I will be talking in this video about Jupiter in Virgo, and also the North, together with the North Node in Virgo, because this is something quite rare. Actually, whenever Jupiter and the North Node are conjuncting each other, it happens approximately every 6, 7, 8 years. So it's quite unique that those both, the North Node is not a planet, but that they come together in the sign of Virgo. So in this video, I will be explaining what it means, Jupiter in Virgo and the North Node in Virgo, and especially together there. And in the second part, I'm going to explain what it is in particular for every sign. So for Aries up until Pisces. Of course, in the monthly horoscopes, I will be checking more and I will be talking more about these energies. But it is good news. And it's not only good news for the Virgos. Everyone will have this feeling of expansion, of growth, of obsessive behavior. And I smile because I know that when I talk about obsessive behavior, people think this is a very bad thing. But a very positive side of being obsessed about something is that you grow tremendously quickly because of that. And so let's get started. When will this happen? Actually, it will be on the 12th of August. So then Jupiter enters Virgo. And what does it mean? Jupiter and the North Node in Virgo and conjuncting each other. Well, it means Jupiter is the planet of expansion. It's a very positive planet. It enlarges everything that it touches. And it's planet of belief, of your belief system. It's a planet of hope. It's the planet of expansion, opportunities, foreign countries, religion. It's so many items, but I just want to make sure that it's the most important ones. So it's all very positive. It's the most optimistic planet and also the largest planet. So everyone will have some sort of expansion, growth, development, depending on the houses where this is this planet and the North Node are transiting. Now in Virgo, I know that in ancient astrology they would say, in traditional astrology or classical astrology, or how do you say it, Jupiter in Virgo is not that good of a position because Jupiter, and it makes sense because Jupiter wants to expand, it wants to see the bigger picture, it wants to be larger than itself, and Virgo is all about the detail and doesn't want to see the overview. So it's a bit in a contradictory sign. Now, actually, I think because the North Node is also about growth and it's also about development, I think actually Jupiter in Virgo will be a good thing that tempers the North Node a little bit, because otherwise it would be too much of everything, and that's never good, is it? So I think that Jupiter in Virgo will be quite fine. The expansion will be made in a very analytical way and in a very precise and rational and truthful way, and also in a humble way, because these are some characteristics of Virgo. Some very good characteristics of Virgo is that Virgo wants to really be that everything is perfect and that every detail falls into place, and it wants to know the truth, and it's very objective, it's very realistic as well. So if you combine all of these, everyone will have this energy in their chart, and everyone will expand, but in a very real way. So I think that is really good news. Now, another thing that is quite special is that it's going to come together with the North Node. Now, what is the North Node? You've got the North Node and the South Node. Very simply, the South Node is where we are coming from, and the North Node is where we need to head at. It needs to be our focus. But the North Node is where we are, where we need to develop still a lot. So mostly for us, when the North Node transits a house, we become very hungry for whatever that particular area of life represents. We become very hungry, we want to know it all. That's the obsessive nature, you could say, of the North Node. But in a good way, it means that because you feel so attracted to that particular area, I'm going to give you an example to make it a bit more clear. If you have, for instance, and Jupiter and the North Node in your 9th house, the 9th house is all about astrology, is all about your opinion, your vision. But let's say for you it means astrology, then this can mean that you are going to have a tremendous growth. Considering that astrology, your knowledge about astrology, you're studying and you will want always more. You're going to be very passionate about it. That is the Jupiter and the North Node together. So the North Nodes make sure that you're going to be very passionate about something or someone. For instance, if it's in a social house. And the North Node is also very fated, very fate comes into place here. Whenever I see connections of transits and planets and North Node, there's something fated going on. It's like it's meant to be that kind of thing that it's been waiting for a long time, and now it has to go with a very big growth curve. You know, the curve of growth can be a bit like this, very slowly, and mostly with like, for instance, let's say it would be in your 10th house of work, and you have your own company. You could say normally your own company, it's working hard and you're improving every year and you're growing. But with Jupiter and the North Node, it's probably going to be like this. It's probably going to be an exponential growth very, very fast and very rapidly because of these two, the combination of the North Node and Jupiter. So we will all feel a little bit exhausted in some area of our lives, but it's going to feel not exhausted like I'm super tired. No, it's going to be also at the same time very refreshing and very rewarding, because you want to know everything about something, and that is that obsessive nature that and of course it depends what your temperament is, how you will respond to that kind of energy. So it's very high energy, actually, the combination of these two. But everyone, depending on their own individual chart, will respond differently. If you are like me, for instance, and if you have a very strong, if you have got some planets in Scorpio, or if you have a strong Pluto, and with a strong Pluto, I mean Pluto on an ascendant, or an IC, or the MC, or the descendant, or Pluto in a hard angle to your sun sign or your moon sign, then you are someone who has that energy of being very passionate and being sometimes getting obsessed about something. But again, that has a downside, yes, of course, because it can learn you two things. On the downside is that it can be quite destructive. And then these people learn, especially with people who've got strong Plutos and strong Scorpio focus in their chart, or strong, let's say, fixed signs sometimes as well. Their lesson is to learn to let go. And the obsession helps them to get to that level that it's too much, and then they let go. And then they're detached from it and transformed. The other thing that people learn through obsession, and this is more the case, I think, with the North Node, is this hunger to know everything about that certain area. And because of that, it's very exhausting, and it demands tremendous amount of energy, but you also grow like 10 times faster than normal. I give you an example. When I had these, I did a little bit of study and look when that happened in my chart. And when I was at school, just to give you and a very practical example of what this energy is all about, I had to go to another school because I think it's called high school or secondary school in English, I don't know. I had to change schools because the school where I was, you couldn't go further. You had to go just to another school. And I did. But in that class, they already had 2 years in front of me of learning the language, the German language. So they already had, I came there in a school when I was in a class, and it was, you know, everyone had 2 years already of the German language, and you know, what I knew was schönen guten Tag und auf Wiedersehen, and nothing more than that. But I had the North Node and Jupiter transiting in the same house, in the house of languages, communication, which is often the 3rd house and the 9th house. And I had like this, I have a love for languages. I know, I mean, you know, I love languages, learning them and speaking them. And it doesn't matter whether it is Chinese or Italian or German. And so I wanted to, it gave me that feeling, I wanted to be the best of the whole class, you know, that hunger and that obsession. So I studied so hard, and everybody was looking like, my goodness, why? And but I just had that feeling. And at the end, I was the first of the class. I had like 87% or something like that. So no one could believe it. But it's because not only of the talent or a feeling for languages, but it's also because of the tremendous work and energy you put into it, because you have such a hunger for that knowledge in this case. So this is the energy that we're all going to encounter in some way. So not a bad energy at all, but it demands a lot of energy, and it will be there. It will be there. So let's have a look. So especially, of course, for the Virgos, and to a lesser extent for the Pisceans, this is going to be very positive. Why? Because, and I will put a link underneath about what I earlier explained about the Saturn-Neptune aspect. So Virgos and Pisceans and Sagittarians and Geminis, some of them, especially the ones who have planets between 0 and 10 degrees, they experience this year this tension between Saturn and Neptune. All about it in the video if you want to know more about it. But the bottom line is that it creates a lot of tension. It's like going forwards and holding, you know, you want to go forwards, you believe in it, and the other day you don't believe in it. It's that kind of energy. It's between idealism and between reality. It's hard to keep them in balance. But now, knowing with the Jupiter there, this is going to help. Although it is in a stressful aspect, it is going to keep the tension a bit off, or how do you say that? To release that a little bit. Because you can put a lot of energy in something that does work. And normally, I know that in a lot of books, Jupiter in an opposition with Neptune is not seen as very positive. But it's how you deal with it. If you are someone of those 4 signs and you have the feet firmly on the ground, this can be a fantastic aspect where dreams come true, but dreams in a sense that, you know, it's quite a spiritual aspect. So if you want to do something for the collective, if you want to do something to improve the world in your specific way, it's a good time to do so. And you will get the support. So this Jupiter is very good for those 4 mutable signs to be a bit more positive, you know, because certainly the Saturn that is on those planets for those 4 signs, it is quite heavy and quite demanding energy, and the Jupiter gives the optimism again. So that's one thing. That's only for those 4 signs, by the way. Now, another thing that I want to mention before I go to all the signs is that there are some specific dates. That will be around, it's a bit of a long time still, but anyways, I'm going to tell it anyway. January, February of 2016, for those Virgos and also Pisceans, to a lesser extent to the Capricorns and the Taurians, there is lots of expansion and lots of what I've just been talking about. If you have your sun sign or your moon sign or some planets around 20, 21, 22, 23, 24 degrees of Virgo, of Pisces, of Capricorn, and of Taurus. So these signs, if you've got planets there, it is really, really, really positive, because then it will fall, that conjunction of the Jupiter and the North Node, it will fall bang on a sun sign or a moon sign or whatever. Now, so it's very, very, the North Node is actually expansion. So for the Virgos, they are going to be the ones with the biggest expansion. So you are warned, Virgos, that 2015 as from August, and also 2016, and also the eclipse, there are eclipses coming up in your signs. So you're going to have some huge changes. Also the Pisceans. Now normally with the Pisceans, who will have the South Node crossing over their sun sign, for instance, or ascendant or moon sign or whatever, the South Node always means a letting go and a more, which can also feel very good actually, because it happens quite organically. So, but that would be the case if it's only the South Node that is transiting the Pisceans. So they would have a time, if the Jupiter was not in Virgo, they would have a time with a lot of letting go, maybe when it is your sun sign, a lot of letting go, maybe an old job, or maybe something that you identified with very strongly. It could be everything. That goes away and that fades away in your life. But as Jupiter is at the same time opposing your sign, there will also be expansion. So it's not only about the letting go for the Pisceans, which would be with the nodes transiting, it will also be expansion. And expansion for the Pisceans will primarily have to do through maybe a connection with someone. A Jupiterian kind of, because oppositions, Jupiter opposing your ascendant, for instance, or your sun sign, your moon sign, oppositions is quite often in relationships. So for a lot of Pisceans who are looking for a new relationship, very good time as well. Or for maybe meeting a friend or meeting someone who gives you some expansive energy, or the feeling that you know, the world enriches for you. The same for the Virgos. If you want to meet someone very important and very, very great possibilities there. Let's have a look now for all the signs. Let's start with Aries. So the energy that I described of being interested in something, being overly wanting to know everything about something. For the Aries people, it is in your 6th house. Now the 6th house mainly is 3 things. It's work, your day-to-day work, your health, or your pets. So in one of those 3 areas, you will have this tremendous expansion. Maybe you will have a job with that has to do something with animals, and you know, it's going to expand tremendously. Or you will have a lot of work and want to know everything about becoming more efficient at your work, because that's the sixth house. The sixth house is the Virgo house, and it is about becoming better, and not necessarily by working harder, but just by being more clever, being more efficient with your time. So a very good time for Aries people to improve and to make some grand steps there. Also, when it considers health, maybe there is some issue there, and you are going to explore tremendously your knowledge about health and about diet health. It's going to increase tremendously, and it's going to help you very, very much. So for Aries, it's on that particular point of their lives. Taurians. The Taurians, very, very nice. You are also an earth sign, just like Virgo. So it makes a trine. So especially the Taurians who've got planets around those 2021 and so on that I said in January, February, they are going to have lucky and this expansive energy in the fifth house. And the fifth house is the house of self-expression. It's the house of children. So maybe if you want a child, now is the time. Or maybe creativity, or maybe starting your own business and, you know, having this really big progress. Now, I mentioned earlier those couple of degrees that was going to be very interesting in January and in February of 2016. Now, there's another period in June 2016 when that's going to be very, very positive for those who have planets around 14 up until 17 degrees of Taurus, Virgo, Pisces, and Capricorn. So those as well. I had forgotten that, sorry. It's a complicated video, isn't it? I hope it's not too complicated. Otherwise, just ask, okay, down the video. So Taurus, yes, very big expansion when it comes to creative, being inspired, having fun, sports, maybe. What else is the fifth house? Romance. Yes, and falling in love with someone who is better than you ever expected. And diving into that relationship, not 100%, but 1,000%. And growing because of that, not just having the pink colored rose glasses on, no, just really you're through that relationship, through that new connection, you grow tremendously. It's like you open up, and so very nice for the Taurians. So having fun. So for the Taurians, it's really, really, really interesting, especially again for you who have those planets around those degrees, but also to have such a nice energy going your way in such a creative, nice, happy house. Geminis. Geminis, this is happening in your fourth house, which is the core of your chart. The fourth house is literally your house. So many of you will maybe move to a bigger place, maybe to a foreign country, because Jupiter represents foreign people, foreign countries, and as well the North Node, connections with the North Node, also foreign, different from you. So maybe you're going to move, some of you are going to move, or some of you are going to feel a lot more content and inspired at home. Maybe you're going to work at home. Maybe you're going to rebuild the home and put in a lot of effort in it to reconstruct it in your particular way. Or maybe you are going to want to know everything about your ancestors, digging extremely deep, and will be able to know a lot about your ancestor. Maybe you are one of those who are going to make that kind of a tree, or how do you call that, an ancestor tree or something. So your ancestors, your root, knowing who you are, knowing yourself on a very, very a very psychological, deep emotional level, wanting to have that emotional stability. That's going to be key for the Geminis, and doing everything they can to get that. So very, very interesting as well. Cancerians, you are having this in your third house. So the third house is everything that has to do with communication and with learning new skills, from, I don't know, making jewelry to a language, or to studying something new. But that has to do with a skill, that has to do with developing of some sort of talent. So learning, back to school is very good for you Cancerians during that period. It can also mean writing, teaching, what else? Doing something with a sibling, writing a book together with a sibling, or anything that improves your relationship with your environment. Maybe you're going to do something in your immediate environment, maybe a group, a social group that you are going to start, and putting a lot of effort into it to make it happen. It's in Virgo, so it's also about organization in great detail. Leos, you will have this in your second house, and the second house is your self-worth. It's your confidence, which is so important for Leos, and it's also your money and your resources. So there is going to be an a hunger for improving your financial situation, and you will do that in a very again, in a very Virgo way. You will want to have things right now, and you will secure yourself, or want to secure yourself through stability as well. The second house is also this stability that you want to create for yourself. So and it's your own value. So you're going to improve your self-confidence, and anything. Well, it's not easy to improve your self-confidence, but you as a Leo will do a lot to develop that, and will have a lot of opportunities, of fated opportunities to do that as well. So developing your talents and doing something with your talents is here key for the Leos. And also being self-sufficient, doing the things yourself, becoming more self-sufficient is key here, and eager to do so. The Virgos, well, I talked already a lot about the Virgos. So you are really going to have this you know, on top of all the other signs. You know, every year Jupiter goes into another sign, and now it's your turn, Virgo. So it's not the time now. For those Virgos who feel the Saturn on your sun sign, it may be a bit restrictive. But on the other hand, there's also an area of your life which is all about you, which is all about your you as a person, that you are going to open up, and you are going to improve yourself and find more meaning in yourself and find more confidence in yourself, which is not always natural for Virgos, because they always want to be so perfect. They are quite hard on themselves. So it's a time of self-confidence that grows tremendously, but also of possibilities of developing your life path, because the first house is your life path that you take. It's also relationships. So some of you will have new people in their life who have some kind of a fated meaning, and not necessarily like a love relationship. It can also be someone who just helps you. For instance, if you for a long time you wanted to create your own business in, I don't know, your own restaurant, for instance, and all of a sudden, very fatally, you meet someone who already has a restaurant for 5 years, and who knows the ups and the downs, and who can mentor you or help you a little bit with this. And this is the kind of energy that comes your way. So people who are helping you, or you being the mentor for other people, because of course this Jupiter is in your sign and this North Node. Jupiter in your sign can also be, as Jupiter is about teaching and knowledge, you could be become a teacher or expand that in some kind of way. You could travel more. With the Jupiter there and the North Node in your sign, you could travel more, you could have connections with abroad more. So this is all very, very favored for you. So very exciting, as I am a Virgo myself. It doesn't always have to be difficult news, doesn't it? With the Neptune and the Saturn there. Right, Libra. Libra, it's in your 12th house. That's nice energy. The 12th house is a hidden house, and it's a very unconscious house. But when such two big planets, or a big planet and a North Node, comes into your 12th house, it means that you are going maybe to dig a bit deeper into spirituality, or you are going to find some techniques, some tools, some to relax yourself a bit better. Because the 12th house is also the house where we retreat, and you know, it's through the isolation that after the isolation is such a negative word, but I mean just by being with yourself without all the energies of other people, that you can find yourself again. So it's a good way to find yourself again, to give yourself some peace, to give yourself some on a regular basis. So not just once a week, 1 hour to give you that, you know, maybe doing yoga or maybe doing some meditation. No, doing this on a very regular basis and digging very passionate and very deep into the understanding of the unconscious. It could be many things, of course, but it's a very mystic position, I think. So a lot of Librans will feel that urge to know that there are other things in life that just the tangible things, and also the letting go of and the trust in life, because that's also the 12th house. The 12th house is also the connection that we have with Source, with the divine, and that we can retreat ourselves and find ways to reload the batteries. So it can be a very interesting time for you Librans, to especially the ones who have had a hard time with work or maybe a burnout. This is going to be something that will help you to gain energy again. So it's kind of a help in secrecy, you could say. Yeah, very beautiful. Scorpios, you're gonna have it in your 11th house. Now this is very, very nice. Jupiter in the 11th house has its joy there. And this can mean that you Scorpios become, because Scorpios in general, I say in general, unless you have some planets in other signs that are most social, Scorpios in general are quite introverts, and although very passionate and very powerful, they're not the ones that need it to be around other people all of the time. But now with Jupiter there and the North Node there, you will encounter some interesting friends, maybe new friends crossing your path, who are going to show you that life is very big, and maybe showing you a different culture, maybe showing you different whatever, a different view upon life, and that broadens your view. And this is so interesting, because then the Scorpio will have the in-depth but also the helicopter view. Mostly you see people who've got one either or the other. So, or you're someone who digs deep but you don't see the bigger picture, or you're someone who sees the bigger picture but you're not going into the depths. Now you Scorpios will do both with that Jupiter there in your 11th house. So if you want to develop a network, if you want to become more social, if you want to grow it will go like this. So anything that has to do with internet as well, connecting with like-minded people, is very favorable for you Scorpios. And also, the 11th house is also your hopes, your wishes for the future. So tremendous hope and, very good, hopeful energy coming your way, believing that you can achieve something. And so this is good. Sagittarians, it's your ruler, of course, Jupiter. And so this is very significant for you Sagittarians as well, as you will be in that 10th house of, well, for most it will be work. A tremendous amount of possibility to grow when it comes to your work. No matter what you do, if you have a little business of your own, or if you just if you're working in a company, and you are going to be seen, and because you are so open to grow. And of course, when do people grow the fastest? When they are open for criticism and when they take it very positively. You know, someone thinks that they can do already and know already everything. They're not going to grow anymore, these people. But you are going to have your ruler in that 10th house. So even when you are, if you're 20 or if you're 50, you will be able to take in criticism and to grow exponentially because of that, and because of your faith as well. You can also can have to do with work that is more Jupiterian-like, which is traveling, which is teaching, which is publishing, writing, and spreading your words, spreading your message there. That's Jupiter as well in the 10th house. So great chance to let grow your career. If you don't have a career, and let's say you're a mom and you've got 2-3 children there, it can mean that your place in society, whatever it is that you want other people to see you, will improve. Maybe you, I don't know, you will make a website and you will sell something, but that is very close to your heart, and that is also very close to what you're all about, and how people see that is your destiny, that's your path. And very interesting indeed for the Sagittarians. Capricorn, it will be in your 9th house. So all this energy in your 9th house is actually a double whammy. Why? Because Jupiter will be in its own house. So everything that I said about Jupiter qualities will very much likely become more and more important for you. So for some of you it will be, the teaching or the studying. For others it will be working, with foreign countries, working with foreign people, traveling, the law, anything that has to do with knowing, expanding your vision. You will become, because Capricorns are very practical people normally, and they can also work very, very hard, but now it's more about expansiveness. It's more about broadening your view upon life. And you can broaden your view upon life through different things, not only through travel, but also through reading, publishing, writing yourself. What else can it mean? The 9th house. It's also your opinions. You can become very strongly opinionated and spreading your word there, becoming a messenger of what you truly, truly believe in, and becoming a bit obsessed about that. But it's necessary for your growth. So maybe a job in politics. Or maybe a job into something that can change more than just your tiny little environment. What's very interesting for the Aquarians is that it is in a very secretive kind of house. It's in your 8th house, and the 8th house is all to do with it's that house of transformation, that house where we want to dig deep, and that house where we want to explore. So maybe you're going to explore more when it comes to the metaphysical side of life, maybe death after life experiences, or maybe on a psychological level you want to understand yourself more and you are going to dig very, very deep. So it's a very kind of a research house. So you could be researching into very detail. Remember, it's Virgo after all. Going to explore the depths of your own soul and growing tremendously because of that. So it's a bit of a standing still towards who you are all about, but it can also have to do with support from other people, because the 8th house is the 2nd house from the 7th. So sometimes it's you getting support of other people that you find valuable. So maybe that could be, not necessarily doesn't have to be money, it could be also just emotional support. Or money comes your way, not that you have worked for yourself, but from another source. What else is the 8th house? Well, another level that could be the case is that you grow tremendously when it comes to going through something that you always have been afraid of, and now you're attacking that, and it's giving you a tremendous amount of courage and power. What else? Intimacy. Yes, maybe, especially if you have been someone who has been isolating him or herself a little bit. This Jupiter and the North Node can help you to open up, not to everyone, but to one specific person. And with opening up, I don't mean only sexually, showing yourself who you are. I mean physically. No, I mean body, mind, and soul. So really showing your sensitivities and sharing that with someone else, and not being afraid. Not by being afraid of that. So the sensitivity becomes the strength. That's quite often when people have a lot of transit through their 8th house. It starts with the sensitivities, but it becomes a big strength. Because every strength can become a weakness when it goes too far in it, but also every weakness can become a strength when it is dealt with courage and with perseverance and an eye for the detail. So very interesting for the Aquarians. And then last but not least, the Pisceans. The Pisceans are having this in their opposite sign, which is really a good sign, because as I just said, you've got Saturn there, especially the ones who have planets between 0 to 10 degrees this year will have Saturn squaring up to their sun sign or ascendant or moon or another planet. That can be quite, because Pisceans are ruled by Jupiter. So they really don't like Saturn overall. Unless you have a strong Saturn, again, in a connection with your sun sign, your moon sign, or on an angle. But mostly Saturn is not really, Pisces really don't like Saturn. And this Jupiter can help them to reconstruct themselves, what is asked of them, of the Saturn. And, when you get a little bit of help, and it's not going to be a little bit of help, I think, because the 7th house, it is your love relationship, you could say. Your close relationship could be that, but it's also more than that. So let's say you are single, you can really meet the love of your life, and it's that fated energy with the North Node there. And this person can be from another country because it's Jupiter and it's the North Node, or someone who just has a different background and who was very different from the other people that you knew. When you are in a relationship, it can simply mean that this person even becomes more important in your life, or you value them in a sense that you say, oh, this person believes in me and making me stronger in a very supportive way. That's the Jupiterian kind of person. Or when it's not about love life, it could mean that you meet a mentor in your life. Again, that can help you through a tremendous growth that you're going through. And that person can help you. That can be a friend, can be a colleague at work, who helps you with the growing and who helps you to have a bigger view upon life, to see things a bit larger. And that has that very optimistic energy around them. So it's very good for all relationships, almost all relationships for the Pisceans. Also, when you have your business, your own business, and you work with clients, you can have finding more meaning in your clients. So having more clients from foreign countries maybe, but also clients who really have an impact on you in a very positive way, and that they help you grow actually. And of course also with the coaching or you know, some kind of mentorship there, you being the mentor for someone else or they being for you, is also very much stimulated here. So that were the 12 signs. This is a long video, I know, but I hope it was helpful. I hope it has given you some insights about the North Node and Jupiter together transiting in Virgo. I wish you all the good luck with it, and keep in touch. When you have a question or when you have your own insights, share them with the rest on YouTube. Thank you. Bye-bye.